All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. You got you guys can't ask if we're tanking every time the Spurs lose, okay? We're a 500 team. That is not tanking. Spurs are not tanking. Last time we tanked was for Wimby, and even that was still like, yeah, they're trying to win, but you know, obviously our team is just really bad. We aren't winning if Wimby doesn't get touches. That wait, that's your guys' wait, hold on. How many people have that takeaway? That was not my takeaway at all in this game. That was not my takeaway at all. That's a fine takeaway, but guys, he was exhausted. They play selfish. They forgot Wimby. They did. I didn't get that at all, y'all. That is not my takeaway. That the team got selfish. I took it as our team got exhausted, and they played right into the Grizzlies' hands. They played right into their hands. They couldn't defend a lick. Now that's a takeaway I had. Grizzlies are a fast-paced team. They're not just a fast-paced team. They're the fast-paced team. They're the fastest team in the NBA. Keldon's poor decision-making, back at it again. Keldon always has poor decision-making. That's like every game, but this isn't all on Keldon. I lost it in the third. We lost it in the first half. Memphis in their fast breaks. That's a takeaway. Spurs need another big. Well, that's always been a takeaway. I blame Sohan. I blame Sohan too. Sohan is solely responsible for this loss. So ridiculous. I saw someone in a comment say, like, Clan, you're delusional. You're delusional. No one talks trash about Sohan. Am I crazy here? I'm sorry. I keep up with Spurs fandom everywhere. And Sohan gets talked bad about maybe the most out of our guys. Out of our best players. He gets talked down to the most. To the point where he even reacted to it. But I guess he's delusional too. We need to blame Wimby? No, you don't blame Wimby. I don't know. I'm not on Twitter. Yeah, that's fair. See, you come to this community and you're like, oh, people are pretty chill here. Well, people are pretty chill here because, like, we actively steer away people that don't like to at least attempt to think of things critically, right? Like, we all get emotional. Obviously, I'm very irritated. I'm going to be very irritated during the stream. But, like, yeah, I don't jump in here and just be like, this player's trash, this player's garbage, this player. Then certain people would, you know, gravitate towards this. And then the people that are a little crazy, that go too far with things, we challenge them, right? So, obviously, this community will be a little bit more chill than maybe, you know, the average fan that you come across on other social media platforms. Mitch Johnson was awful. Guys, he was worse than awful today. All the people that want more Wimby aggressiveness do not understand. It was exhausting. Wimby came into this game locked in, okay? We're going to talk about this game. Entirely on Mitch? Quite literally, yeah. let's see. All right, let me bring some stuff up. Give me a sec. Mitch hates Zach Collins for sure. He hates everybody, apparently. Let's see here. Bringing some stuff up. We should sponsor this segment, shouldn't we? Man in his feels. Who in his feels? Get Fox over here already. What the heck? Is any of our guys on here? Oh wow. Actually have this on here. That's something to talk about. Okay. Chris Paul is not hurting the Spurs. Brian Wright is also a joke. Okay, all right. We gotta hone it in a little bit. All right, we gotta let's reel it in a little bit. Let's not get too crazy. Let's reel it in a tiny bit. Okay. Let's not get ridiculous now. Am I missing something? Where the heck is there was something here. Julius Randle. De'Aaron Fox. Here we go. Okay. Oh, it changed. Oh, if not, then all right. All right, let's talk about this game. It was pretty bad. Clan, I never tried a knee jerk, but brother, that Mitch. Sebastian, I want everyone to know this, okay? For YouTube people, when this is uploaded, people in the chat right now, Sebastian is always level-headed, okay? There's a few people in the chat that I notice time and time again, and the more often you're in chat, I'll notice you, obviously. But he is always level-headed. And I completely agree. Okay, so let's start it off with this, okay? Let's start off with this, because I think there's a lot of reactionary takes when you dive into this game. I think a lot of people, especially after a loss like this, where, not to say it could have been prevented, but we could have put ourselves in a much better position. People are automatically like, get rid of this person, get rid of this player. This coach is trash. I don't think Mitch Johnson is a trash coach, okay? However, he's a young coach, but some of the decisions, I'll just be transparent, okay? Over the course of the last quite a few games, okay? The decisions have been kind of strange, and I give a lot of leeway, and the reason being is because obviously this isn't his program. Obviously, it wasn't supposed to go down like this, right? He doesn't supposed to be the coach right now, necessarily. But hey, it happened. It is what it is. But there's some things where I'm sorry, I have to expect some of the bare minimum. Just some of the bare minimum. So let's get this out of the way. So I saw a few things in chat. So what we'll do, I probably should have said this. What we'll do is we'll talk about the game. We'll talk about the sponsor really briefly. So shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this segment as always. And then I'll take a look really deeper into what the chat has to say. But I saw some things in the chat early on when we first started up. Just want to say that I disagree with some of these takes. Some of you guys I noticed said, oh, it's Wemby's fault. Some people said that Wemby didn't get the ball enough and that's why we lost. Some people said, the Spurs didn't show enough energy. I disagree with all the above. Okay. I think there's genuinely, two. I think it's genuinely two reasons why the Spurs lost this game. Okay. Two big reasons why the Spurs lost this game. And it has been the same thing over the course of a lot of games now, where we just kind of, I didn't necessarily ignore it. We brought it up, but it's to the point where you're going against the number one team in the NBA that can exploit these two flaws that we've been doing as a coaching staff. Two main flaws. What are those flaws? Number one, you're not playing any of your bench. You like, we have completely abandoned the idea that Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley can give you anything. Mamu, Zach Collins, they can give you anything. The most mix-up that the Spurs give is either Zach Collins, like who's going to play, Zach Collins or Bassey. That is it. And the way that we're running this offense right now, we're running the offense as if we're already in the playoffs. You don't play a subset of guys, and these are your guys no matter what, thick and thin. You don't do that this early in the season when the Spurs are not a playoff team. Right now, it seems like we're playing a team, or we're running a rotation of guys where we're already late into the season and we're getting ready to get into the playoffs. You don't do that. You don't do that. You shouldn't just trust 7 guys on your team to win the game for it. You don't do that. And I think that's kind of ridiculous that we've been doing this time and time again. And the Memphis Grizzlies are a team that can exploit that because they're the number one fastest team in the NBA. They're the fastest team in the NBA. They're going to exploit that. It is a game of attrition with them. I was worried about this. I tweeted it out, but I was worried about this game in the first half because it seemed as if the Spurs were playing extremely hard. It felt as if we controlled the pace somewhat. It felt like we were outplaying the Grizzlies, and we were only up by 2. I was like, we are not going to be able to keep this up. And sure enough, in the second half, we were not able to keep that up. We were absolutely exhausted. So I'm not blaming a specific player here. It's not Wemby's fault. It's not Castle's fault. It's not, and you guys know I talk about Keldon. It's not even Keldon's fault. This was just pure coaching where you can't go into this game and not play anybody. I don't understand it. Actually, did Bassey even play? Guys, did Bassey even play in the second half? Did he just play in the last 4 minutes of the second half? Did he play the... Hold on. Oh, wait. I think I hit the wrong thing. That won't help me. Can someone tell me that? I am looking at the chat right now. Can someone tell me that? So, number one issue, like I'm saying, is this is a game of attrition, and the Spurs were not switching out players. Wemby looked gassed again. Guys, I need to know if Bassey even played in the third quarter. Hold on. Control. Oops. Oh, there we go. Bassey. Does his name come up? Chris Paul enters the game for Bassey. When did he come back? Okay, he came back with 6 minutes and 38 seconds. He blocked Jack LaRavia, shooting foul, offensive rebound. Okay, so he was in the game for like 2 minutes? About 3 minutes? He wasn't in the game long in that third quarter. 3 minutes and 33 in the third. It was tied 86-86. Then Memphis took out the belt. Get Fox or marketing this offseason and some solid vets. I'm open to trading anyone except Wemby, Sohan, and Castle. Also, never let Mitch cook again. Thanks for the super chat, RJ. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so he barely played in third. I did not recall Bassey that much in the second half. So that really bothered me, okay? That really irked me, okay? That really bothered me. But you know what? Okay, you're a young coach. You're trying to rely too heavily on a subset of guys. Maybe you're a little nervous. You're like, I want the guys that I can trust out there. Is it okay? No. Is it inexcusable? Yes. I mean, they don't have Ja, and they didn't have Zach Edey, but really. But yeah, it's inexcusable, but at the same time, we can sit back and at least acknowledge that is a young coach thing. Okay, right? Like, he can improve that. We can get better at that, whatever. There's another thing that we can get better at. The second reason why that's really been bothering me, that I cannot wrap my head around. Why are we not calling timeouts? The timeouts are there for a reason. Why are we allowing the Memphis Grizzlies to go on an insane run and not calling a timeout once? We let Adama cook us. What are we doing? We just let it happen. And that worries me, because we already know that when, and I'm trying not to stir up anything, right? Like any drama for you guys to be worried. It's nothing to be worried about. I think the Spurs will be fine. I think they're all professional. We'll be okay. It's unexpected as far as the coaching thing. I'm not even on the board of Mitch Johnson is just absolute garbage. Like, I'm not thinking any of that. But this is something that comes to mind. We went over this. Wemby did say that there's been lack of adjustments, and he put it on himself as well. But it was very obvious that as a team, we haven't been making the right adjustments. And it makes me wonder, why are we not calling timeout? Do we have nothing to add? Do we have nothing that we can change right here? It should not turn into our best players versus the entire Memphis Grizzlies against the entire Marvel universe. Okay, we have other players that we can play. If we lose, we lose, but at least put us in a position where we can fight. The Spurs had no chance of winning this game if you were just gonna play. If you were just gonna play 7 players, like, you have no shot at beating the Memphis Grizzlies. And this is a flaw that the Spurs have had this season, but it is exposed with the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, there's plenty of teams that are bad enough and we're good enough where Victor Wembanyama is enough, right? And even games where we won't need Sohan, right? I think we needed Sohan tonight. I think that would have really helped. But, like, there's games where you don't need him. But this right here, you absolutely, there was no way. You had a 0% chance of winning this game playing this way. But the momentum was insane. In the third, hold on, let me put things in perspective, because you guys probably think, if you tuned in, maybe during halftime you went to the bathroom, or, you did something else. Maybe you got on YouTube and missed some of the third quarter. Guys, yes, control, find timeout. All right. Guys, check this out. Grizzlies called a timeout with 8 minutes and 11 seconds. Whatever. It's a close game. You got the Spurs calling timeout with 6 minutes and 38 seconds. Okay? At this point, the Spurs are down 79-73. Look how this, and this happened another game too. We went over this before. Look how the third quarter ended. We had timeouts, okay? Look how it ended. You looking? You staying with me? 102-86. It was 79-73. And we did not call a timeout. Hold on, let me tell you everything that happened, actually. We'll do that. We got to keep things in perspective here. Devin made a 3-point shot. That's cool. Devin made a dunk. Now, this is where we're excited, right? Oh, man, Devin's going on a run. Oh, my God, he's going off. Not going to be able to keep it up. This is a game of attrition. This is the Grizzlies' whole game plan. They know you're not going to be able to keep it up. They just got to keep wearing you down. They're constantly swapping people out, by the way. Look at this. This is right here. Jay Huff enters the game for Luke Kennard. They just swapping them. They're just swapping them. So Devin makes 2 free throws. All right, he's trying to save the day. Keldon Johnson shooting foul. Jack LaRavia, makes free throw. Now look at this run. Brandon Clark makes 2-point shot. Devin makes a 2-point shot. Jay Huff, he just got in the game. He got fresh legs. He made a dunk. Charles Barkley make a alley-oop dunk shot by Devin. Devin is carrying you. He's doing everything he possibly can. Devin hit another made 2-point shot. And then you have Aldama, who makes a driving dunk. You got Brandon Clark, who makes a 2-point shot. You got Luke Kennard, who makes a 3-point shot. You got Brandon Clark, who makes a 2-point shot. You got Aldama, who makes a 25-foot 3-point shot. You got Luke Kennard, who makes a 15-foot pull-up jump shot. All of that happened. And then you have Desmond Baines making a 3-foot 2-point shot. You had all of this happening and not once thought, hey, maybe we should call a timeout. Hey, maybe guys looking a little tired, you know? Maybe they're a little tired. Belt out crazy. It's insane. It went on for so long. This went on for like 5 minutes. But it wasn't 5 minutes. It was no, it literally was 5 minutes. Dude, it was like watching Dragon Ball. It was like watching Goku on Namek. That 5-minute fight versus Frieza. That's how it felt. Without that timeout. It was only 5 minutes, but good God, it went on for like 50 episodes. Jeez, it went on for like 50 episodes, guys. And not once we said, hey, maybe things are getting out of hand. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. And with all of this being said, there's another thing, but I only wanted to bring up those two because those are the two biggest issues right now, is that you're not utilizing your roster. You're playing as if we're already in the playoffs. And you are just not going to sustain anything doing this all season long. That's number one. Number two, not calling timeouts at a timely manner. That bothers me. And I guess we can add this, but this hasn't necessarily been a continuous thing. But this game in particular that I noticed, Aldama, he hit like 5 3-point shots, right? In the Spurs, you can go back and watch if you like. They play under the screen, like often. They kept doing it. I don't understand why we were in drop coverage continuously. I don't know why we were doing that. They shot 43% from 3. I don't know why we kept doing that. And then to just top it off, I mean, what else are you going to do, right? They're absolutely dog walking us. To top it all off, the San Antonio Spurs went into zone defensively. And do you know who the point man was? Did you guys remember who the point man was of our zone? You would think it would be like, oh, was it Steph Castle? That makes sense. Nope. Was Devin in the game? Did that make sense for Devin? Nope, it wasn't Devin. KJ. Literally Keldon Johnson. Keldon, baby. Yeah, literally one of our worst defenders. I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm sorry. This is not okay. And the only time in which we saw our guy, the game was actually out of hand, and we still refused to play our bench. Hold on. Was it like the last 4 minutes, right? The game was already out of hand. Let's see. Yeah, it's like 5 minutes left. They're whooping on you. I guess maybe you think you can go on some type of run. Come on. Let's see. Yeah, it took a long time. Yeah, the last 4 minutes. But, I mean, it was a wrap earlier. And it might be one of those you had to be watching the game type deal to get what I'm saying. But it was over. Once I saw Jaren Jackson hit that 3, that was a wrap, bro. And when it's 118 to 96, 6 minutes, 45 seconds. That just put in your bench. He still didn't do it. We just waited and waited and waited and was like, okay, now we'll throw you out. And I saw a couple people say like, oh, well, Clay and the bench, they look so bad when they're out there. They haven't played. Obviously, they're going to look bad. And you put them all out there together, obviously. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not convinced that I'm not convinced that Blake Wesley, Malachi Branham, and maybe you could say Mamu. Maybe you could say Mamu because Zach Collins is, you can argue with me about this, but Zach Collins is a better defender than Mamu. Maybe you can argue about Mamu. But I'm not convinced that Blake Wesley, Malachi Branham, and Zach Collins are so unplayable till they shouldn't get any minutes in a game like this. None whatsoever. They're that bad. They're that trash. As soon as they come in, oh my God, we're going to be down by 20. I am not buying that one bit. Like I said, game of attrition. You have to utilize what you have. They're getting paid. They're on your roster. They will be fine. You don't even have to play them together. You need to be creative with the rotation. But geez, this was not okay. I'm definitely convinced on Collins. No. You can try to make the argument that Bassey works better, you know, at times with the roster. But no. Zach Collins is a better defender than Mamu, you know. Clan, why do you think Mitch Johnson is not using the full roster? I think that he's a young coach, and I think that he is. I think he's become comfortable with the guys that are close as you can get to surefire things, right? Like close you can get to consistency. And I think that that's what he's doing. I think he's trying to stay above water here. But that's why I think he's not playing them. I don't think it's anything malicious. I don't think it's like he doesn't like Malachi. He doesn't like Wesley or anything like that. I think it's just you got Chris Paul. You got Harrison Barnes, right? They are going to get a lot of minutes. You trust them. Victor is going to get his minutes. You trust him. You trust Devin. Steph Castle is in still trust. And obviously Keldon be on team as long as he has. Julian Champagny being a big part of last season. And yeah, everyone else is just like, I don't really trust you that much. You got to play him. You can't steer away from that. The Spurs, there's no reason the Grizzlies should have scored 11 more points than they did last game. And they're missing Ja. They're a good team overall. They have a lot of depth. But most importantly, what they do to teams is they wear you down with quantity. They want to play fast, and if you're going to play fast, you better be putting people out there. I mean, look at Wemby is one of the best defenders I've ever seen in my entire life, and you notice how bad defensively he looked at times, where Aldama was just getting straight past him. That's where you would have really been able to utilize Sohan. Sohan could have really helped in that situation. But also, I think it just spoke to, this is too much. The only rest that we're going to give Wemby is, it says 17, but it was less than that. Because Bassey played at the end when it didn't matter. But like the only rest we're going to give Wemby is Bassey giving him 13 minutes. That's not okay. Thank you, Clan. That's exactly what I've been saying. It's not okay. All right. That's my take about this game. All right. I'm frustrated. I don't like it. And Mitch Johnson got to fix that. And that's okay. This isn't a anti-Mitch Johnson stream. This isn't a I hate our coach and I think that he's garbage. I don't think any of that. I think that he is a good coach. I think that he's a competent coach. But over the course of several games, it just seems like he's having way too much faith in these guys, and he needs to be able to call a timeout and change it up. It is fine. It is totally fine to take out all of your starters if they're struggling. Which in this game, I didn't really get that vibe right. I didn't get the vibe that they were all just like making like silly mistakes. Sometimes, but if they are, it's okay to take them out of the game and just put in other guys that's going to be hungry, come in, play hard for a couple minutes, then take them back out. You know, kind of like a little bluff. Take them back out and then put your guys back in. Give them that rest, man. And I guarantee you, it's going to be, and this is what worries me. I'll say this is what worries me, and then we'll go into the sponsor, and then I'll take a look at what the comments say. So if you're wondering what does worry me is if the San Antonio Spurs get to a point where they do decide, because it seems like Mitch Johnson has been a little hesitant, you know, as far as playing some of these guys. If they do it, and Malachi and Blake Wesley get a few minutes, Zach Collins get a few minutes, and they struggle, or Mamu get a few minutes and they struggle, that we immediately abandon the ship. Like, okay, nope, never mind, we're going back to what we were doing. I'm afraid of that, because it's basically inevitable that that's going to happen, because they haven't played at all. Just take some risk, all right? The Spurs are going to, I guarantee you, I promise you guys, playing Malachi Branham, because that's the one person that everyone's worried about. Playing Malachi Branham doesn't guarantee you a loss. I'll leave you on this before we get into the sponsor and talk to the chat more. But like, here, it doesn't guarantee you a loss. He hasn't played a lot this season. But if you take a look, if you look at all the games in which he got at least 10 minutes, the San Antonio Spurs were 8-5. Okay? You can count it for yourself. I won't do it. But you can see here, when he gets more than 10 minutes, they're 8-5. Now that does not mean let me say this. Let me preface by saying I'm not saying that he is responsible for all these wins, even like 15%. Like I'm not making that argument. All I'm saying is playing him doesn't guarantee you a L. That's not true. Playing him doesn't mean that, oh, now everything's going to fall apart. That is not true whatsoever. Keldon Johnson is one of the, I'm not trying to talk about it. Keldon, and we can lump Castle in there too, but I'd say Keldon because he's a bad defender if you want to compare him to Malachi. But Keldon Johnson is one of the worst shooters in the NBA. Period. I think he's like 5th worst. I think Swish Hill told me that he's 3 now. I don't know. I didn't see that. I think he's 5. Or maybe 7. He's like top 10 worst. He's one of the worst shooters in the NBA. But you can still play him and you can still win games with Keldon on the roster because he can bring you a few other things. And I think the same thing as Malachi. I think Malachi, while his defense isn't the best at times, while he makes mistakes at times, he can still bring you that 3-point shooting. He's shooting 40% this season, 39.6%. I think he's probably more so a 35% 3-point shooter when it's all said and done. He's a decent 3-point shooter. You can play him and not necessarily lose games. So not advocating for him to play 20 minutes a game. I don't think that. I don't think he should play that much. Okay. I don't even think he should play like 12 minutes. I don't think it should be that high, but good guy, give some people some rest, give our vets some rest, give some guards some rest. Stop honing in on this roster like we're in the playoffs. We're nowhere near there yet. We're just at the halfway point of the season. You got a lot of games left. Put him in there for 5 or 10 minutes. Okay? It'll be fine. The Spurs is not a guaranteed loss. They'll be totally okay. If anything, it'll help us. It'll help other guys. It'll help the more talented players on the team be able to perform, when we absolutely need them. So yeah. So that, like I said, I'm not trying to, because some people will say, are you trying to say that, Malachi Branham is responsible? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that you can play him and be totally fine and still get a W. Obviously, it's possible. Okay. And Chris Paul looked winded, by the way. Probably need to bring that up. He's an older guy. Okay. He's an older guy. He looked quite winded. Get what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say about that. You guys can tell me, how you feel about it. Brought in CP3 for passing, yet they run no pick and rolls for Wemby. We need CP3. We need Pop back. And we all miss Pop. I don't think Pop will be back. I know that like a lot of people, are hopeful that he will be. I personally don't think that'll happen, but I think that's okay. Stream acting a little weird. But yeah, I miss the Ghost, Sohan, and Pop. Mitch might not be the answer. We don't know that yet, but I wouldn't worry about it too much, guys, because at the end of the day, I think Pop and Wemby would probably have a say-so in that, and I do trust both of them. So nothing to really fearmonger there about, you know what I mean? Hopefully the stream is still going okay. It's acting kind of weird. Oh, let me connect to my internet. Because it just disconnected for some reason. No internet. That's weird. Because it says no internet, but we're obviously online right now. I'm a little confused. I don't know what's going on. Little confusing. I guess we'll take a look at the chat and then we'll get back to everything else. Nowadays, I just watch old games on YouTube when the Spurs dominated in the early 2000s. Well, don't be like that. We still have quite a few games where the Spurs look successful. I mean, not successful, looked impressive, right? Like, we have games today where they look oppressive. Wait, actually, yes, they look oppressive too. They oppress teams sometimes. So don't think the sky is falling necessarily, you know? Why is this saying I don't have internet, but I'm literally talking to y'all right now? I am so lost. I am so confused.